meet and chat session in 2024. It's a pleasure to have you all on board for this session. So for participants who are just joining us for the first time, the Finance Business Partners is a community of finance and accounting professionals who are committed to changing the narrative of the profession. We pride ourselves as being a reliable support network for professionals in the field of finance and accounting. We leverage on connected learning approach to share knowledge, create and implement ideas with the ultimate goal of making every of our community members better at what they do in their everyday engagement. The monthly meet and chat session with professionals is one of the innovative ways the community improve the skill set and capacity of its members. So on this edition of the meet and chat session, we'll be discussing a very important topic, which is enhancing professionalism in the workplace, strategies for improvement. This topic is of paramount importance to anyone seeking to improve his or her skill set as well as advance in their choice careers. You would agree with me on the opinion that no matter how technically gifted an individual may be, if the professional touch is missing or lacking, there is no way such a person would reach the climax of his or her career. Citing how important this topic is, especially as it relates to career advancement, we've invited a highly and well-respected individual in person of Richard Okunla to share insights with us on strategies to improving professionalism in the workplace. So let's talk about Richard. Richard has over 7 years experience as a professional accountant and consultant. He has worked on numerous engagements for both local and international clients with top and reputable firms such as KPMG and EY. He has also worked for other corporate and multinational entities like Lafarge Africa PLC, and he is presently engaged with Pladis Global. He is vast, well experienced, and highly exposed, which places him on a good stead to share insights and make each and every participant on this evening's session better professionals. The session promises to be insightful and engaging, so I urge you all to listen attentively, note your questions so our speaker can provide clarifications at designated time. My name is Abubakar Idris and I am the host for this session this evening. So Richard, if you are on the call, welcome on board once again. We are glad to have had you on this session and we hope it's going to be an amazing time for you and the participants.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Finance Business Partner, for having me on this call. It's a pleasure to be here. And thank you everyone for joining this session. So, as I usually do in most of my sessions, I'd just like to know what are your expectations, especially from the participants, right? What are you looking out for or looking to learn in this session? And maybe I can take like 4 or 5 people and then we can proceed. So 5 people, let us know what you are expecting from this session, going by the topic.
Okay, so in line with Richard's request, so if you know you would like to speak, you can just raise your hands. So I would call you so that the floor can be open and would give room for decorum. Okay, on a personal ground, my own expectation for the session is at the end of this session, I expect that you share with us your career journey, how you as a person, how you would ensure your professional standard at all times, both at workplace and in your personal life, and how you've gotten to where you are today, and the impact that being a highly reputable professional can have in our career. Those are the things I would expect that you share insights on. So I expect others or other participants to raise their hands so they can also share their expectations with us so we can get started with the session proper.
Yeah, thank you very much. So that's well noted. Let's allow others too, I can see people are raising their hands. So maybe the admin can just organize people to speak so that top 5 people, and then we are into the program.
Okay, so Patricia, you can go first. Let's hear what your expectations are.
Okay, good evening, everybody. So my expectations for this training or this meet and chat is I would want to know how you're able to balance in a workspace where even when it seems like you're doing so much, but it seems your efforts are not being recognized, and how you're able to manage when being spoken down on, how you being able to manage all of it, still ensuring professionalism at all costs. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, that's well noted. Let's have the next person. Yeah, now next person can go ahead. Or do you want to call it? Okay. Akuri, you can go ahead, please. Blank that Akuri.
My expectation is to gain more professional insight on how to carry out my tasks as professional accountant professional. I think that's my expectation for this program.
Okay, all right. Yeah, thank you. So next person, Festus, you can go ahead, please. Festus, what do you say?
All right, thank you. Good evening. For me, I'm looking forward to you sharing with us how one can be able to develop himself even while in a very fast-paced environment. That means you're able to deliver excellently at your job and at the same time personally develop yourself.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. That's 4th person. One more person to go. Let me see. Last person can go ahead, please. Or don't we have anybody again? Yeah, let's go now, please. Let's ask, so that I want to just know your expectations so that I can make sure that I cover it, and then by the time we're having question and answer session, it would just be more of conversation at that point. Okay, so if in the absence of no other expectation, I would like to welcome you all to this session tonight. Okay, so let me see if I can come up with my slide now. Just a minute. It's not coming up yet. Just a minute, sorry. Can anybody see my screen now?
Not yet. I can't see your screen yet.
Okay.
No.
We'll start again. All right, just a minute. How about now?
Okay, yeah, it's up now.
Okay, I'm trying to. So you can see it now, right?
Yes, we can.
All right. So thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to today's session once again. Yeah. So based on your expectations, I've noted down your expectations. I'm sure some of you mentioned that you wanted to just learn about the career journey so far. While others mentioned managing pressure, of course, being spoken down on, and sometimes when you are in a fast-paced environment, how do you manage to cope with the requirement, deliverables, and the likes? So yeah, I'll just start with a kind of quick rundown on my career journey and what you guys actually expect to know regarding the career aspect. So yeah, my name is Richard Okola, and many of you that might be familiar with my name on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook. I don't know how to put it now. Maybe I should say I'm a finance professional, right? I used to be a tax professional, core tax professional, but along the line I switched, right? So my career started at sometimes in 2017, where I worked with a small consulting firm in Abeokuta, Ogun State. Yeah, that was after finishing from the Polytechnic, right? And I had the opportunity to intern with KPMG at some point in 2017, and then eventually became a contract staff. And at some point also, I got some other interesting offers, right? So, and then I progressed. Now, it's important that I start with defining some of the key things that I've written in this presentation before I go to the story part, so that we can all learn alongside and we don't miss out on the important aspect of this presentation. So just 1 minute, I don't know why it's not connecting yet. I'm trying to connect another device so that I can monitor the presentation. Okay, yeah. Let me stop sharing and share again. I think I'm sharing. So just let me know once you can see my screen now. Someone can confirm once you can see my screen.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Okay,
Yeah, we can see your screen.
All right. So before we proceed to discussing about the professionalism and professionalism in the workplace, I wanted to just give a quick rundown on what or who a professional is, right? Of course, there are some definitions that have been put out here, but it's important that we also re-emphasize and re-echo these things so that we can be convinced enough about who a professional is. Now, I've written it here that a professional is an individual who possesses a high level of expertise, skills, or proficiency in a particular field, occupation, or activity. So, not many people think that professional is restricted to the accounting and finance professions, right? No, it's actually cut across different fields. And as long as you're able to build expertise around something, you should know that you're a professional on that thing. So, and that's why it's always important for you to kind of know everything about a particular aspect of thing you are doing. If you are doing tax, for example, I know there are different aspects of tax. So if you are focusing on corporate tax, know everything about corporate tax. If you are focusing on personal income tax, know everything about personal income tax. So what makes you a professional is not the kind of jack of all trades that people do, but the kind of focus you have on a particular field. That is what makes you a professional. So, and I've written it here also in the second definition that the term professional typically implies a person who has undergone formal training, right? Might not be necessarily education alone, training or certification in a specific discipline. So it's not a general discipline, it's a specific discipline. And that is what makes you a professional. So if you see somebody that is saying, I'm an accounts payable manager, he can become an accounts payable director, can become an accounts payable specialist. So that makes you a professional in that particular field. Likewise, if you're an account receivable professional, account receivable manager, or whatever role you are, you know that everything about that field, you know it. So if you look at the third, that brings us to the third definition I've put here. It says professionals have a deep understanding of their field. So let's take, for example, if you say you are a finance professional, well, it's possible to be a finance professional. So that means at least you know everything about, maybe you've worked across all the departments, right? So you have a very deep knowledge about everything in that department. So let's take, for example, if I say an accounts payable manager, for example, right? An account payable manager should know what we call the payable days, should know what we call the age analysis, should know what we call vendors and suppliers, you know the difference between customers and suppliers. So, you know, there are some key terminology that you would say that, okay, this person would definitely know it, and you can tell that this is an account payable person, right? So, and likewise for receivables, for treasury person, or whatever you are playing. So you must have deep understanding of that field for you to be called a professional in that field. That's the basic aspect of it. Now, talking about professionalism goes beyond just having the knowledge, right? It goes beyond just becoming a specialist or being a knowledgeable person in a particular field. Professionalism now encompasses other soft skills that, trust me, in some instances you cannot even learn them. You have to study, you have to develop those skills by yourself. They are more of innate ability in some instances. And this professionalism I'm talking about encompasses set of behaviors, like I've written here, attitudes, qualities, of course, that reflect a commitment to high standards, integrity, competence, ethical conduct, and of course, in relation to the field you are practicing in. So, let me give you an instance. When you are talking about professionalism, you can be very good at something. You can be extremely good at it. Let's take, for example, you are the best graduate student in your school. You applied for a job at, let's say, Stanbic Bank, and then you did very well. You got 99 over 100 in the assessment. In the interview, you did very well, but you dressed shabbily, like you were extremely underdressed. I know some people have a school of thought that say, oh, it doesn't matter how you dress, but trust me, especially in the Nigerian settings, how you dress really matters, right? So that alone is a part of professionalism that many people do not know, because there is this saying that the way you dress is the way you are addressed. So there is a way that the way you dress alone speaks louder than even the qualification that you possess. You can see somebody that will put on suit, right? They will put on the suit and you'll be like, wow, this guy must be the MD. And by the time you find out it's an intern, right? So the way you package yourself really matters a lot. And it's part of the professionalism we're talking about here today. So looking at other qualities also, like I mentioned the second item here, that professionalism extends beyond technical expertise to include effective communication, a strong work ethic, and adherence to ethical principles, continuous commitment to learning, and the likes. So like I've written here, professionalism goes beyond the technical skills that you possess. Yeah, exactly. So it goes beyond the technical skills that you possess. It goes deeper to talk about how you can relate, how you can get results without having to, start typing email. So it talks about also your relationship skills with people. For example, if you want to get results in some offices, let's say the tax office, for example, and you're writing email and saying that, oh, kindly assist to lift the restriction on our account, and you're typing email. Trust me, you can type email from today to tomorrow. Nothing might happen, right? But if you have that relationship skills, if you have the communication skills, some of the things we will discuss subsequently, you will see how these things can help pave way for you as a professional, and help to enhance your professional skills as an individual, and even as a leader in the industry. So in essence, like I mentioned here, professionalism contributes to a positive and productive work environment. Yeah, so when you have the attributes of a professional, you are able to contribute positively to the business and to the work environment as a whole. And before you know it, you see that success becomes something that you achieve easily. So now, building professionalism. Now, let me quickly give you a rundown of, let me say, my personal experience too from professionalism aspect, right? So I'm opportune to have relationship with a lot of professionals. I don't know how, but I just know that sometimes, I don't want to play religious, but then there's a part of God factor there. So I came from a very humble background, meaning that in the scripture we use humble background for when you are not so financially buoyant, right? So then building professional connection was very important to me from my very beginning, and how I did that was by making sure that I keep good contacts, I keep good friends. So I remember that when I joined KPMG back then, the goal was that, okay, I'll do it just coming for some years. And then, of course, because there was a dichotomy between BSc and HND. So it was a big issue. You can't become a full-time staff. Now, I'm not talking about the firm negatively. Don't get me wrong. So there was if, of course, it's obviously clear that HND and BSc were not accepted like on a equal ground in most of the firms, right? So I had to go and pursue my BSc, and then I acquired it, right? So, but then along the line, I made sure that I got all the relevant certification that is required for me, so that by the time I get to a level where I need to, of course, become a senior role, manager role, I won't be restricted by my qualifications or by my certification. So I make sure that I got all the prerequisites required to deliver on the job. And at the point of now delivering on the job, I discovered that there are still other skills that you need to build, and which is some of the things I will be talking about now. So some of the key attributes that you need to build as a professional, beyond the certifications, beyond the educational qualification, beyond the technical experience that you have gotten. These attributes includes professional experience, professional appearance. So I've mentioned this. Trust me, when I was in KPMG, like, I'm referring back to KPMG because that was like the beginning. And in 2018, I got the, I think, best dressed rookie of the year or something. I can't remember the award again, right? But trust me, it's not like I had so much money then. It was just recycling the same thing. Let me give you, as a guy, let me give you a code. So all these 10 I'm telling you are just part of what I think we should all do. So as a guy, you don't have to buy 20 shirts or 50 shirts for a month, right? You can just have, based on your pockets, you can just have 5. Make sure that you have enough whites, maybe like 3 whites or 2 whites. And then every week, of course, have like 5 different shirts that you wear. It might be white all through, it might be colored all through. Lady can also have their own preferences, right, in terms of colors, right? But then, for you to avoid looking like you're wearing the same clothes every day, make sure that you have different varieties of shirts. And for your suits, you can also have like 2, 3. You don't have to have like 10, right? For me, I was lucky because I got a lot of gifts at some point for dress. So I have a lot of suits. I have like more than 15 suits. I have all those other things like that. But then I didn't really spend money buying them by myself. Some of them come as gifts. So you don't have to break pockets to, try to prove a point. But the most important thing I'm trying to bring out here is that as a professional, you must, of course, dress properly, properly groomed, and your presentation, like your appearance, must kind of create an impression about you. So I had a very good relationship with all the partners, especially in my unit when I was KPMG, and that was because of how I present myself, right? When I also joined the other companies I worked with, they were like, in fact, I featured when I was at CWG, I featured on the CWG Africa's page, right? They just called me from my office, oh, come and do this presentation, you are well dressed. That was what made me to even feature in the first place. I was properly dressed. So as a professional, at all times, except maybe you are relaxing at home, of course, I don't expect you to be putting on tie while in your sitting room. So, of course, maybe when you are at home, you can dress down. But then when you are outside, even if it's casual wear, make sure that you appear professional at all times. Now, moving on. Another thing that I think could help you as a young professional, as an adult or a leader, is having effective communication skills. Trust me, some people do not know how to communicate effectively, or let me say, they kind of get everything mixed up. If you are having challenges with maybe your use of words, tenses, and the likes, right? It's always good to at some point be deliberate about learning. You are never too old to learn. So if you know that you're having issues with communicating properly, you need to really work on it as a professional. It goes a long way, and it determines how much leadership role you can take as a professional. So I'm going to be moving very fast. I know that we have questions at the end of the session, and this is already 5:30. So I have time management, very important aspect. So professionalism involves being punctual and respecting other people's time. So I have one of my partners, my directors when I was at EY. If we have a meeting by 12, this person will be at the place by 10:30, 11 is already there. You'll be wondering, oh, does he not have any work he's doing? No. It's just a kind of attribute he has built over the years, that no matter how far his house is to that place, he will get there on time. So as a professional, it's important that we have or we build time management skills. When I joined this session, I think I joined around around 4:58 or thereabouts. I could see that people had already joined. That's kind of attribute that's expected of us as professionals. So we should all be punctual and make sure that you prioritize people's time. Make sure that you respect everybody's time that you are working with, so that you can actually achieve more. Right. Another thing about time management beyond meetings is that you must be able to schedule all your activities as a professional. If you are working in the consulting space, it might be quite difficult. Personally, I've also experienced that, especially if you are not in the senior management role yet. It can be difficult to plan your activities for the day, but it is not impossible, right? It can be difficult, but it's not impossible. So let's assume that you are still writing your ACCA exam, for example, or ACA or ICANN or whatever exam you're writing. You can, of course, say that, okay, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., I want to use it to read. Or from 8:30 a.m., I want to quickly do this client's work. I want to quickly do this deliverable to my boss, to my director, or to my CFO, depending on who you are working with. You can plan your activities for the day, right? And I'm sure, of course, there will be other things that will come in between, but it's always good for you to plan the activities already ahead of the day. So, and that can only be done, that should not be done in the morning of the day you are starting. Let's say, for example, tomorrow is Monday, right? You should not wake up around 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. to start planning for Monday. I think you should do that something like today, so that if at all there is anything you have missed out, by the time it's tomorrow, when you're looking at your schedule for the day, you can easily slot that in and say, okay, by this time, I'll be available to do this thing. So yeah, moving on, ethical behavior. So this also goes a long way. There's a need for us to uphold strong moral and ethical code, of course, in maintaining our professionalism and trust. So some people do not have ethical behavior. They don't know how to relate with people. They don't know how to reject some. For example, let's say you saw a situation where they say, okay, it's a kind of bribery situation or something that requires you to compromise on your standards, right? As a professional, you must be able to stand your ground. Whether anybody is watching or not, you must be able to stand your ground. That is like the best thing you can do for yourself as an individual. You might not know, but on the long run, it will pay off. So, whether anybody is watching, like I said, or not, always make sure that you do the right thing. Moving on, continuous learning and development. So this is an aspect that is very important for every professional. So what makes you stand out as a professional is not really because you have certifications. It's not because you have ACA, you have CITN, you have ACCA and all those things. No. And it's not because you work with a big company. Trust me. In fact, with working with a big company comes even more responsibilities because they expect you to know more. And this brings me to tell you about the kind of experience I had sometimes in 2020, thereabouts, 2019, 2020, not very far ago. So I went for an interview. I didn't even know how I applied for that interview in the first place. And during the interview, we were given Excel to prepare a trial balance. No, to prepare a financial statement. We're giving trial balance to prepare a financial statement. That was how I got my own work. I started it. I was sweating under AC, right? Just because I have not done that before. Even though I was ICANN chartered, but you know that how ICANN will give you all the questions, and they'll give you all the questions. You'll be solving and be calculating all those NCI and all those things, right? So I was not very grounded in preparing FS with TB, and surprisingly, I could not do the aptitude test very well. Now, when they finished, I moved to the next stage of the interview. They asked me, okay, we saw that you could not do the assessment very well. So, okay, so let us give you a kind of face-to-face interview. So tell us, what all these captions have you worked on? I want to know this caption. Sorry, for people that don't understand you, bro. I was like, which one is all this caption again like this? So because I've always practiced tax, and don't forget, I'm a chartered accountant. So there's nothing that concerns them with whether I'm practicing only tax or not. And it was at that point that I knew that, it's not an excuse for me not to know at least something about everything. So that brings us to that quote that I'm usually saying. know something about everything and know everything about something. So at that point, I was pained that I've never done bad like this in the interview. That even me, I knew that they are not going to call me back. So when I left there, I enrolled for some other trainings, personal trainings. I reached out to my friends. Oh, guys, let's please come and teach me how to do this thing and the likes, right? And before I knew it, I became grounded on it. And I applied to other jobs. I did very well at the interviews. I was able to answer the questions perfectly. And then I got those jobs. Like I've moved between jobs and even up to when I got to EY, right? And in my unit at EY, I do financial reporting, accounting, tax, bookkeeping, and a lot of things like that. So it comes down to what I'm saying here is about continuous learning and development. So don't say because you have been doing fixed deposit in your workplace, or you have been doing just investment banking, or you have been doing just audit, or you have been doing just tax, then you don't know anything about the other things. It's not a good thing. So you must, as a professional, you must engage in continuous learning and development to continue to improve yourself as a professional. So there are other points, teamwork and collaboration. Yeah, this is very important. So sometimes, let me give you guys an instance. There was a time I was given one task and I struggled to finish the work, not because I don't know it, but because I thought that others could not do it. So my senior manager gave me a work, and when I look around me, I was like, every other person that is there, oh, this guy cannot do this work. So I started doing it by myself. I did it first day, second day, third day, fourth day, and at some point I was overwhelmed. So when the senior manager called me, oh, Richard, how is the work progressing? I was like, this work is a lot, I've not finished it. Then she now told me, oh, why didn't you assign a part of it out? That was when the thing just came to my head that, oh, I could actually delegate a part of this work instead of me trying to do everything. Then, before I knew it, I became a bit relieved. So what I'm trying to say here is that you must be able to embrace teamwork and collaboration, right, in delivering your work. If you are a kind of person that likes to do everything by yourself, trust me, it's because you have not seen workload. Maybe your work is kind of simple. If you see confirmed workload, when you have like 3 different multinationals that you're handling at the same time, then you will know that there's a key need to engage in teamwork and collaboration. So you must be able to extend, of course, to how each individual work between the team. You must be able to, leverage their skills, leverage their personal attributes to achieve your own ultimate goal. So moving on. Okay, I know I have some other point that I didn't include in this place. So one of the other point that I didn't include there is on conflict resolution. I know one of us mentioned about how you manage the people talking down on you and the likes, right? So for me personally, I'm this kind of person that I believe that there's nobody that is perfect, right? So when there is a feedback, whether positive or negative, it's all for your own good. Sometimes the feedback might even might be incorrect, right? But I'm a kind of person that I embrace feedback first. I internalize it and see, okay, is this thing truly correct? Can I learn from it, right? And then by the time I do that, I look at strategies to resolving maybe the shortcoming that has been highlighted respectfully, right? Don't forget, don't just shout at others. You must be able to resolve it respectfully. And then by doing that, you're able to, achieve a kind of work environment that even you are comfortable working with anybody. Because when they give you a feedback, you know that you are not going to use it against them. And not going to use it to fight back against anybody in the work environment. So another thing that I will talk about is under the growth aspects. So as a professional, you must continue to pursue growth, even at partner level. Let me give you one instance. So I've had a situation where my partner called me, oh, Richard, how do we do this particular thing again? Can you remind me? Maybe she's in a meeting. You can just call me, oh, can you do this? How do we do this? So what I'm trying to bring out for me is that you must embrace continuous learning. So because you cannot know everything. So that learning should be continuous as you grow in your career and also as you relate with others, that learning must be continuous. So don't make yourself an island of knowledge. Make sure that you are learning from everybody, even top to down and up and bottom to up. Learn across the way. So let me see. Maybe I can take more questions to address some of the key things that every other person might have. But I think I'll just stop here for now on the items that I've covered regarding the enhancing your now enhance professionalism in the workplace. So thank you very much. Let's go ahead with the maybe question and answer aspects so that I can have time to further break down other things that people might have question on.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Richard, for the insightful presentation. Okay, so let me go first with my own question. So I would just like you to throw insights as to how your professional connection or how your relationship with other professionals assisted you in propelling your career to where it is today. Then, while attending to that, I would also like to know the number of certifications you have. Okay, at this point in your career, is it really about the number of certifications that you have or the skills that you possess from the trainings that gave rise to those certifications that you have at the moment?
Fantastic. All right, thank you very much for that. So let me start with the first question, where you asked about my career network, right? So for me, in 2017, when I started my career, I had the opportunity to have access to it was just the partner at KPMG then, Wale Ajayi, and he happens to be my mentor. Because I actually requested for mentorship, having read a book. I can't remember the name of the book now, but I read a book on mentorship. And I've also read a lot of books. Now, I'm going to tell you that because it's very important for everybody on this call. So if you are looking at developing yourself personally and professionally, I would recommend that you read the book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. Now, the other book I also recommend is read No Excuse, The Power of Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy. No Excuse, The Power of Self-Discipline by Brian Tracy. Now, when I met with my mentor for the first time, I told him, I want you to be my mentor. I want you to just, yes, this is someone that has had over 30 years experience with a professional firm. And I was like, please, I just want to learn from you. Anything. And you know what? Throughout my stay at KPMG, maybe we met less than 20 times. Throughout my 3 years plus that I spent at KPMG, maybe we met less than 20 times in terms of career discussion. But one thing stood out. There is somebody that I always report to for the career progress. I told you, when I failed my 8 years, then I wrote 8 years, 3, I failed one paper. And I failed that paper because of overconfidence. So I told him, he said, Richard, I know that you can do it. You go back and write it. That time, I didn't have anybody to even support me. Financially, I don't have anybody to support me. So I wrote it and then, I passed. And then he said, yes, good for the next skills level, go and clear it. Those kind of ginger, there's a way they help you to progress faster in your career. Now, when I met him, I also, at the same time, there was Taiwo Idele, there was Yomiri. So I was like, I need to meet other people too that they are in this tax line. They need to ginger me. So I sent a lot of messages to Taiwo Idele. I sent messages to Yomiri. So, but I knew that maybe now that I'm in their kind of shoe too, I know how much messages they get on a daily basis. For me personally, I get more than 1,000 messages. In my inbox like this, I have more than 5,000 messages. So, and when I look at it, I now saw that, okay, these guys will be very busy. I look for a way to get their phone numbers. So I reached out to Yomiri. I sent him messages, no response, and I knew that he's very busy. So at some point, I now started to write my own articles, started writing my content on LinkedIn. And then he just saw one post that I did. It chatted me by itself personally. Richard, did you write this? I said, yeah. He said, wow, you have a great writing skills. Well done. This is fantastic. And the rest is story. Now I know his family member. I have access to his house. I have access to to him himself. And what I'm trying to bring out there is that sometimes you have to pursue those people that have gone ahead of you so that you can leverage on their experience, on their intelligence to also progress faster in life. So, and of course, they started giving me hints. Oh, you need to do your ICANN, you need to finish it. Immediately you finish your ICANN, do your induction, because your years of FCA start counting after you have done your induction. You know, those tips started giving me. Now, I now intentionally started doing all those things that will project me out there. Writing my content, giving free tax education series, giving motivational content for young professionals, and all those things that I do. Now, all those things gave me something, which is a name. So I want you guys to take note of that. So because the scripture says that a man's gift, right, makes way for him, brings him before kings. So that those things that I was doing gave me a name. So that at some point, when I needed to deliver some things at the tax office, FIRS office, when I just say, my name is Richard, oh, that is that guy I used to post, then I easily get access to get things done, right? In some instances, I just go to someone, oh, I know this guy, oh, I just get free access like that. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to build a name for yourself, and you need to build expertise. Don't just build name without having a substance, right? Build name and build expertise. And before you know it, you have a wide range of connections around you. And then also keep contacts. Now, when you guys were introducing me to the new company I'm working with, the person that recommended me to that company, I think he traveled to the US. We used to know each other far back away, like we've not spoken for like close to 5 years. So he was at the US just for an holiday. I was like, oh, well, boss, longest time, how are you doing? Hope you're enjoying the US. And he just told me like, oh, Richard, I'm fine. Then after like 2 days, Richard, are you interested in this role? Like, I'm interested though. So what I'm trying to say is that, see, no matter how small the person is now, build good relationship with everybody and keep good contacts. I have contact of so many people that even me, I was like, how did I get this person's phone number? Right? So you must, from now on, when you are young like this, build contacts. And like one of my director at EY will say, he said that the tax officer of today that you see that is in the front desk, for people that are practicing tax, you know what I'm saying? When you see the tax officer or schedule officer, those people that used to stamp your file, those ones that if you're an entry level staff, for example, let's say you're working with Perabo, you're working with KPMG, EY, or whatever firm you're working with. If you are in Associate 1, for example, and you go and file in the FRS, and the person that receives it from you is just a schedule officer, he stamp it for you, bam, and then you took it back to your office. Then you did that for the first year, second year, third year. In the fourth year, don't forget that other person too is also growing. He says the tax officer or schedule officer of today is the director of tomorrow. Meaning that as you are growing, the person is also growing. So when you keep good relationship from now that you are young or that you are still a younger professional, by the time you grow up to a particular level, you will discover that you've built some networks that you cannot trade with money. Right? So that is what I would just say around building network, building connection. You must like gradually, it's never too late, right? And don't feel too big. Trust me, don't feel too big to build network. You must build it upwards, you must build it downwards, and then by the time you know it, if I need something in the UK now, I can just call somebody, oh, Alpha, so guy, please can you help me do this thing? If I need something in the US, I have somebody I will call in one of the big four there and say, oh, sister, can you help me to do this thing? If I need something in fact, this week I was doing some things around different tax offices in Lagos, and I was just calling and making calls, right? And what does that mean? Build network. And I'm sure that by the time you leverage all this, I mentioned 2 books. By the time you read those books, you can see more tips on how to like build networks around yourself. Then I think you asked the second question, the certification aspect. So yeah, for me, the truth is that I'm not a person of certificate, even though I might have like some certificate, but the truth is that I'm not a person of certificate. I'm more of the knowledge. So I know I did ICANN, CITN, CIMA, and all those kind of examinations I've done. The goal is that I don't want a situation where I apply for a job and they're telling me that because I don't have the certificate, that they did not employ me. And I'm also this kind of person that because of people I've dined with, I've moved with, I've seen instances where people get to executive level and because of a certificate or the other, they could no longer get higher positions. So why not just, as a young person, if you have the funds, why not just do everything that you can do now? One thing that I will not do, maybe if they give me money for free, even if they give me the money for free, I don't think I have interest in CFA, for example. I'm not washing down the exam for anybody that is in it, but I don't see myself in that line. So, right, of course. So you must know what is important for you. I will not say you should not pursue professional qualification, but it's not just everything that you should go and chase. You will not see me chasing CFE. You will not see me chasing some other qualifications are there, but I don't see them as necessary for myself. I only see what my career trajectory, where is it going to? Okay, is it becoming a CFO? If I need to become a CFO, I need to have CGMA and ACMA qualification so that it can further buttress my experience. I need to have ACCA qualification so that it can give me leverage in international organizations. I need to have ACA so that in case in Nigeria I need to sign FS, I can become a member of FRC and the likes. So you can see that there is a kind of linkage. But some people have certificates that are, they are just over 20 certificates and then by the time my partner, let me give you one gist for my partner, Wale at KPMG. He's currently the African tax partner for KPMG. He's the head of tax for KPMG Africa. So he told me one time like that when I was having a kind of gist with him. So he said, the more your qualifications, the bigger your headache of professional subscription. For those of you that have international certifications, you know what I'm talking about. When you are paying professional subscription for ACCA, for example, and you are paying over £100, and you are paying for CIMA, you are paying over £100 or maybe £200. And by the time you start seeing the money you are paying for professional subscription, it will end up becoming a liability to you if you are not earning the equivalent of the money as a salary, or if your employer is not paying the subscription for you. So if you are writing any professional examinations, make sure that it is in line with your career trajectory and it is also what you can afford. Don't go and break the bank to write an exam you cannot afford, or when you fail, you not start blaming yourself. No. So you can only write what aligns with your purpose, right? And I think that answers your question on the second aspect. Yeah, so let me pick Rewan Usman before I go to Amode Christiana. So Rewan, you can go ahead.
Good everyone. Thank you very much for the wonderful section. I think I just have a question. The first one is I think earlier you may mention that as a professional you need to know everything about what you are doing. So we used to have this conversation with one of my colleagues, a professional colleague, that what
your voice is not audible. Can you speak louder a bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I say we used to have this conversation with one of my colleague, a professional colleague. He used to say that as a professional, it does not necessarily mean that you know everything at all points. However, what makes a professional is that you always know the source, or you always know the place where you can get a solution to that particular question or something that we want you to provide answer to. So I want to know the rationale behind it, as in just making reference to your comment that, okay, in your field, you just need to know everything about that particular field compared to his own point.
Okay. So I think maybe you might have mixed it up, right? Because what I said is actually in line with what the other person had said too. What I'm saying is that you need to know everything about something and something about everything. Don't forget, something about everything means that you are a finance professional. You need to have an idea of what bookkeeping is. You need to have an idea of what financial reporting is. Have an idea of what accounts payable, treasury. You don't need to know the details of it, but at least have an idea. If they say you should come and make payment, you should know that at least I will collect the customer's bank account. I will verify the name on the account. I will know. So you have the basic idea of everything in finance department. But your own primary responsibility, which is maybe account receivables, or maybe it is even bank reconciliation, you must know everything about it, such that if somebody else come from another department, they can't tell you that they know it more than you. Do you understand? So that is what I'm saying, that you must know everything about something that you are doing, and then something about every other thing too.
Okay. Thank you, man. And just a quick one again, right? I think I'll be having this challenge. Is a it's just a life, maybe a real challenge that faces currently. In a situation whereby your former boss, where you know that you are reporting to, maybe the people you met with him, the boss used to like cover up some things so that.
Your voice is very low and it's breaking.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Okay. I have a scenario whereby the boss and the current boss I'm reporting to, right? So the subordinate I met there, I think I don't want to actually just mention that most of them are ladies. Let me say most of them are actually ladies. So there is a way that he has built a relation to the extent that he cover up so many things regarding the work aspect, to the extent that the work is being affected. But maybe when the manager wants to ask, at the end of the day, he will just find a way to maneuver and cover up things. Now, presently or currently, he's no longer with the firm again, and the lapses are being, as in all the lapses are showing now. So in this instance now, professional. No, is it advisable to like let the management know that this is what has been happening, or because most of those subordinates I'm working with now, when I came, I noticed that there have been so many lapses. They don't do what they're supposed to do. They watch him during working hours. They'll deliver or tangible result. So what do you advise me? Because it seems that I'm the one leading them now, and most of the blames and the faults are coming down. All of them will now boil down to me, and it feel as if maybe I'm not competent. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to allow to let the management know what is going on, which I'm still finding like as a professional, which I'm still trying to do. So what do you advise in this kind of scenario?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So that's a very key question, and as a professional, I will just give you an advice on the general ground. All right, when you take a responsibility rather, you inherit both assets and liabilities of that department. I remember that was taken by my finance director told me when I joined the new company. So when you join a new company, you inherit both the good things, the good records, and the bad records that has been in the department. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that, of course, there might have been a lot of lapses by the former person, but do they want to go and call this? Do they want to go and start this former person again, or do they want to rise query to the former person that has left? No. So it is now up to you, right, to take charge of that situation and to take responsibility. And I would advise that when you have a team, right, maybe you might want to carry out a kind of training for them. Since you mentioned that you are kind of the new leader, even if it's a fractional leader or whatever sector that you are operating. So I would advise that, first of all, before you escalate to the management, you might want to conduct a training to them, or you have a kind of session, one-on-one session with the team where you will discuss with them that, okay, this is how I want this to be done going forward. This is how I want deliverables to be done. And if necessary, you can send emails. So if before in the past you have been doing oral conversation, okay, can you go and prepare this report? Then you say, okay, I will do it. Then 3 days later, I have not done it. Maybe you want to start using email. I need this thing by 6 p.m. today. You become more effective when you delegate appropriately, right? And of course, like I mentioned, communicate effectively so that they can know that this thing is urgent. And if you're having a team that are not supporting your goal, I think it's good to escalate. This social person, of course, before you escalate, you have track record that show that you've sent first email, second email, third email. I do that for my team members, and I don't think any of them hates me for doing that. Because for me to send 3 emails, 4 emails to my associates or to a senior, and the person is not doing that thing, that means the person is not serious with the work. And I escalate. And we still laugh at the end of the day because I'm escalating for your own good. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that you must be able to manage the team. It's not about reporting them that will solve the solution, but you must be able to manage the team. It's when they are now not cooperating with you based on your own approach that you have introduced, then you can now escalate. Hope you get that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let me take Amodu Christiana before I go to Daniel.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the insightful session. I've really learned a lot. So I would like to ask, in a case whereby as a young professional, I think you already mentioned that, but when you want to access mentorship and you don't really have a direct access to your prospective mentor, how do you go about it? For example, if I want to access your mentorship program, and maybe I've sent direct messages and I follow you on LinkedIn and the likes, but there is no really like a one-on-one, what's it called? So how would I go about it?
Okay, thank you for that question. So, well, I believe that mentorship from afar might not be extreme, might not be very effective. So, the best thing I would advise is that you need to keep being persistent, right? So, if somebody is drowning in water, the person will just keep giving all the energy to make sure that he comes out of that water. The person will not just say, "Oh, nobody to help me, let me just give up." No, the person will keep struggling, doing everything to make sure that you achieve coming out of that ditch before eventually giving up. So I think what you should do is that maybe shooting at big stars, right, might not be the first step. What do I mean by that? For example, if I say, "Oh, I love what's this guy? There's one popular guy that I was always following at that time. Elon Musk, yeah. I said, I love Elon Musk. I want to be my mentor." And I started sending him message on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, everywhere I send him message. Trust me, I might never even get a response. Of course I might, but I might not get a response in 10 years' time. Right? So sometimes you might need to be strategic. I think you should start from where you are. It's a book. Start from where you are. Start from the people that are close to you. Right? It doesn't matter how bad it is. There will be people that are close to you. I have an elderly person, over 60 years old. When he told me that he wanted me to be his mentor, I was like, Daddy, how come now? And they now said, all the people that have gone ahead of him, he can't really relate with them. So it's better to relate with somebody that is below me. So what I'm saying is that start with people around you. Look for somebody. Trust me, there will be somebody around you. If you want to I'm not saying you are proud, but what I'm saying is that if you want to put your pride aside, you want to put your qualification aside, there will be somebody that you can tell that is near to you or close by to you that can actually grant you access to mentorship. Now, don't forget, mentorship has to be strategic. Don't just say because people are doing well, you want to become they want you to become a mentor. Some people, they have broken nose. Some people, they have different things. So if you are not careful, you'll be learning from the wrong person, even though the person is successful. So you must be very strategic to make sure that your mentorship is starting from people that are nearby or close to you first. Now, in accessing, you mentioned my mentorship. Yeah, I have a mentorship I'm running with together with Ivelabi. And next cohort would likely be starting by it will be open by middle of February 15 days about. It will be open for people to apply. And then it will close by towards the ending of February. So, of course, you can maximize those kind of mentorship. If you see another one too, I know Yomi Fashion also do something like that. Some other persons do group mentorship. And the reason for this group mentorship is similar to what you have said. I can't have time to be sitting down with each person and be talking to them every Sunday or every Saturday. It's a kind of waste of time. So I would rather do it for everybody together on the mentorship, and then we discuss 2 hours, 3 hours, and we are done. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that you must start from where you are, start from people around you to get access to good mentorship, so that you don't just keep waiting for the perfect time before you can have access to that top person that you're looking forward to. Hope you got that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So I think Daniel Kevin is next.
Okay, good evening, Richard. Thank you for this session, and I really appreciate the book recommendation you gave. My questions goes thus: how do you handle a situation? Can you hear me, Richard?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. How do you handle a situation where you have a boss that is not, permits me to say, is not really professionally sound? He's chartered, he has qualifications, but he's not really sound. You can really like get to know that this man is not really sound, because when you ask questions that for clarity, for the purpose of clarity, the way he responds or the way he just goes around the question and end up not even answering you. How do you handle such boss? And in handling this kind of boss, you are in a new environment. Maybe you just changed your job, and you realize that you have a lot to do. You are overwhelmed with work, and in this new workplace, there's not like there's really like there's no structure in place. They are just trying to like set themselves up because of recent. They just changed from the software they were using before to Odo, and a lot of ups and downs. How do you handle this kind of situation as a professional that really seeks growth?
Okay, great. So, Kevin, personally, I will want us, both of us, to have a chat maybe after this session. But I will explain your answer, but I will also tell you some things personally after the session, because I have one of my mentees that had exactly this same issue that you described. In fact, it's as if the same way you said it was the same way you are saying it. So I told him some strategies which he adopted and really worked for him at the moment. So let's connect after this session, but I would also address your question. So first, you must understand that the person you are dealing with is a professional, right? So the first thing you should do is understand their perspective. So sometimes those bosses, because they are elderly or they are old, they tend not to have knowledge about the new things that have changed or new trends of things. So you can see them, they know how to prepare accounts, but they don't know how to prepare it in line with IFRS, right? So at that point, you need to understand their perspective, and as much as possible, you must be humble to address issues. So when you make recommendations, for example, they might not know. They will think that you are being proud when you say, okay, when they say, let me take, for example, if you look at treatment of some accounting transactions, probably they could have just done debit bank and credit sales or something. But you are saying that no, you should first eat receivables before it goes to sale. You should first eat receivables and sales before it goes to bank. Then they say no. So sometimes you have to understand their perspective, and then you now submit your own professionalism into it. But where you see that the person is kind of adamant or they don't want to bend, then you need to let their own will to flow at some point, right? Maybe you might need to change some job in some instances. You might need to change job, and then or the other part is you need to look at the what's it called? Documentation of everything that you are doing. So sometimes they might give you the wrong advice or the wrong treatment of transactions. Make it documented. Send an email to that effect. When they say you should do something that you think is not even appropriate or is not in the right frame of frame set, you can do an email. Oh, sir, can you confirm that you asked me to do this and this? Trust me, in the future, that mail will serve as a correspondence to buttress your own point. And let me just give you a kind of a bit of personal experience that would also help. There was a time I was working with a boss that, of course, I had all my certificates, so he doesn't really know much about accounting. He used to know, let me say, old elderly people. So he used to know about accounting very well, but at the moment he doesn't even know about it again.
Just using residual knowledge.
Exactly. So those scope, we need a scope to answer question. Now, when CFO sends work, oh, so person, Mr. So, can you do this thing? Forward it to Richard. Yeah, Richard, do it. Those kind of thing. You do it, you send it back to him. If there's an error from the CFO again, you will send it back to him. He will send it back to you again. Yeah, correct it and send it back. Now, when you have
Get me in the
experience,
same shoe.
so when you are dealing with people like that, you have to make them feel like boss. There was a book that we read in my mentorship corner, and one of the chapters is on testificators of power. One of the chapters, or the first chapter, says that do not outshine the boss. Do not outshine the boss, meaning that you must consistently make your boss feel like he knows everything all. And that is when you can enjoy your own job. You will be delivering effortlessly by making sure that any lapses that he has, don't do it to make him feel like he's incompetent. That's what I did not do. I was doing it like he's the one doing it. And they say, okay, can you give me the report today? If the board says, oh, give me the so report today, even if it's on Sunday, you call, Richard, please, you need to do this. I said, yes, sir. And I'll do it fast, send it to him. Because if he fails, automatically I fail also. So I'll make sure that I deliver to him. Now, it's not easy, especially if the person is not even understanding. The person can be very irrational. The person can even talk you down, despite the fact you are doing everything for him. So, but that's where you kind of have your own self, what do they call that thing now? Like, you have to just maintain decorum personally, because it can be very frustrating. But it's important that you maintain that decorum as long as you are still working with them, or maybe until you get a better opportunity that you can move out of there, or whether you have I don't think those kind of people will even leave the organization on time. They will not leave because they are enjoying being that boss. So I think the best thing would be that as much as possible, if that job is paying your bills, of course, bringing in money for you, continue to be there and continue to submit to that boss while you are developing yourself professionally in other aspects. Then by the time you think it is the right time, you can make moves to another company or to another business sector for yourself. Hope that
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Very well said.
Yeah, all right. So I think that's all for now. I don't see any hands up again. Let me allow the anchor to the host to take over the session now.
Thank you very much, Richard, for the apt responses you provided to all of the questions. Okay, so since we don't have any more hands up, so let me just ask this final question. Okay, so during the course of your own career, I am quite sure that you must have belonged to a number of communities, such as the one we operate presently. So do you encourage, or to what level now do you encourage upcoming professionals to join communities of this nature to enhance their professional growth?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Now, starting from finance business partners, right? I would encourage anybody to join professional networks like this to enhance their career growth. For me, maybe by that time I didn't know finance business partner back then, but I knew accounting yard. And what I just did was that, in fact, there's almost no YouTube video that they uploaded. They uploaded one today, around less than 2-3 hours ago. I've watched it. There is no video that they upload that I will not watch. Even if I have known that thing, I'll go and watch it again because I know I will learn a new way of doing it. I follow all their social media page just like I do for finance business partner also. So it's important that you network as much as possible. Like I mentioned earlier, networking gives you a wide connection. It gives you a wide database of people that you can access. If I did not network, I might not know Idris. If I did not network, I might not know Real One now. I might not know some other persons on this call. I can see that Iwelabi is even here on this call. So if I didn't network properly, I might not know all these people that I'm talking about. And even beyond this forum, we have what we call the Young Professional and Emerging Leaders, which I was on their team yesterday to discuss something similar to this. And then other professional networks like that. It's important. Trust me, it pays off on the long run. We have the Skilled Club. We have a lot of different societies like that. As much as possible, join them. What I would not just encourage is that if they have financial implication that you have to be paying like 10,000 subscription every month, well, maybe if you can afford it, good. But if not, I think you should just go with the free ones. These ones that we are doing now, they didn't collect any money from anybody. It's absolutely free. And you can see how much value you are getting for yourself as a professional from a free event like this. Trust me, outside there, some people charge huge money for it, charge big money for it. And then if you're having it for free like this, I think it's a good one. You must maximize it and join them as much as possible. So yeah, that's my suggestion on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. Okay, so since we don't have any more questions, I think we have Adebayo's hand raised. So Adebayo, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much, Mr. Richard, for this wonderful presentation. My question is, my question might be a bit it might be from the for a professional who also have a kind of entrepreneurship trait. How can such a person, maneuver both in the workplace? I don't know if you get my question, sir. Hello.
Mr. Miracle, please, can you mute? Hi, Richard, are you still there?
Okay, yes, I'm here. All right, so you can go again, Adebayo. I could not hear you before. That Miracle's sound was coming in.
My question is this: it might be a bit I might a bit digress from the actual topic you're discussing this evening. Is about for a professional in accounting professional who have a kind of a business acumen. How can such people maneuver between being an entrepreneurship, being being an entrepreneur and at the same time parting the professional ladder? How can both be maneuvered together?
So I think for most people that I've seen build, because trust me, when you get your employment letter from maybe your firm or from your company that you work with, they specify that you will not engage in any other business except for their business. So professionally, I don't advise you to run any other business aside from your current employment. Well, you can still do some investments, which will not take, of course, it won't take your time to do investments or to invest in other businesses, but you should not be fully engaged in another business. So as a professional, first of all, I want to encourage that. But then when you have business acumen, entrepreneurship spirit, and interest in entrepreneurship, I think the first thing you should do is to build knowledge around the business first. So there's no knowledge that goes to waste. For example, the current thing you are doing now, let's say you are currently an accountant now, it doesn't go into waste. Understand the business. So what you have to do is you start talking about the business management. Start looking beyond financials. And I think nowadays they're even saying that accountants are no longer just about doing historical information, because historical record keeping, historical review can be done by AI now. So accountants are more future looking, forward looking than what it used to be before. So you have to know about the business projections, what is the business going to be in like next few years. So when you understand that about your current organization you're working with, you can replicate that in your entrepreneurship business also. So before you venture into business fully, I think you need to understand how business itself operates so that you don't end up running into entrepreneurship, because trust me, it's not easy. I remember there was a time I was trying to do some entrepreneurship work. Sometimes you get 25,000 in a month. The other month you get 700,000. Another month you get 15,000. So it can be very funny. And the trend you can't really predict. So you must understand the business very well, so that by the time you are launching out and starting your business, it won't be a kind of roadblock where you start regretting that you left your permanent or full-time job for an entrepreneurship role. So, but for more information on that, maybe you can also reach out. You can explore other things that you might be able to do together alongside your work, right? So, yeah, thank you very much for that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think we should just call it a day now. I don't know if Idris has any other comment or the finance business partner.
Okay, so thank you very much, Richard, for making our time to attend this session this evening. We appreciate you and we hope to have you in our subsequent sessions.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, even though we still have some other people that are intending to ask their question, you can just drop a chat.
Yeah, see, if I don't know if your Facebook or Twitter or any accounts, if there's a page, you can just tell them to drop it. I will respond and maybe you can share with them.
All right,
so,
that's no problem.
I want to drop off now also.
Okay, so anyone that has further questions can drop it on our WhatsApp community, Finance Business Partners WhatsApp community. Richard would respond at his free time. So with that, we've come to the end of this evening session. We hope to see you participants attend another edition that will come up next month. Thank you very much for making our time to attend the session, everyone. We appreciate you. Do enjoy the rest of your evening.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.